evening to everyone. Very excited to have everyone here today. So I'll just give it a little few minutes after 8 now. So I'll just give it a couple. I see the numbers going up and up and up. So I will go ahead and give it just a couple more seconds. Just give a couple more seconds. Everyone, just go ahead. People are typing in. I have it on private, so people are able to go ahead and still chat, and then I can see it that way. So given, like I said, just a couple of minutes. Welcome everyone. This is a very exciting class that we have today about getting your first wholesale deal. And I'm super excited to share this information with you guys and to really get started. So I'm gonna, like I said, give it one more minute. I see the number just keeps going up and up and up. So just allowing everyone that opportunity to go ahead and to get a few more minutes. Okay, hello. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is so exciting. Again, so many people have requested this. So again, if you have trainings that you are interested in, or you want some kind of advice or, recommendations, and we'll start to have conversations about things, please do not hesitate to send me suggestions. A lot of times too, I've been doing this a while. I kind of forget what people know and what people don't know. So I have to always be reminded of what people need and make sure that I'm giving it to you guys. So again, welcome. And let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, so let's before we begin, we want to talk about why real estate investing. I kind of have to go and just give this little bit of background to people so that they have this information, because it is important, and we really always need to start with why. Why do you want to invest in real estate, and get really clear about why it's a great business to be in if you already are not investing. So again, just want to remind everyone, this is still a fact. This is the #1 way to wealth in America at this time. It really is. It has been for very many, many years, and it still is. Real estate, as you know, 89% of all millionaires are created through real estate. I also know that we are all at different places. Some people have been in the business a few years. Some of you guys are real estate agents and have been kind of showing people homes and doing some of that type of work. And so you know and understand some things about real estate, but real estate investing is probably a lot newer for you. Maybe a couple of people have like 1 or 2 rental properties and really would like to get it where their cash flow is way higher so that they can transition from working for someone to working in their own business consistently. And so some of you have no money to invest. Others have a 401k, or savings, a small inheritance. Yes, a lawsuit or lottery winnings. That has been something that people have told me about. And so wherever you are on the path, I can help you grow. And so we're starting with, one of the more introductory real estate investing strategies, which is wholesaling. However, that word I think is just kind of overused, wholesaling. And people say, oh, I want to wholesale. And they have no idea that they need to get a lot more specific. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, about how to get specific with wholesaling so that you can actually start to do some deals and just do what I did. Going from 0 to millionaire in less than 2 years is how I discovered what I teach now. When I say getting very specific, that is very important. And we're going to get into that really today about what you need to do with that specificity. So the important part for me, though, is your success. The success that my students have experienced. It warms me and it fills me. I'm way past the point of wanting to flip houses. I still do, but just kind of needing that's just not, or needing wholesale deals and things of that nature. So it's my student success and people that I'm teaching that really fulfill me. So being honest, I can't teach, in 1 hour, the full strategy that I've spent 3 years crafting and always going deeper today. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time chit-chatting. I'm just going to give you 3 specific steps that you can implement immediately to secure your first profitable deal, and in some cases less than a week. And these steps will lay the foundation for the others so that you're building your wealth building strategy. Then at the end, I'll tell you about my exclusive Fast Track to Freedom system so that we can start building your $1 million empire. This is not about doing a deal or two. I really want this to be where this is, as it is for me, your full-time job, where you have the freedom and the ability to do what it is that you want to do and spend your time doing what you want to do. So like I said, I'm just going to go for it. I want you to feel like this was the best free class ever. That's always my goal. So forgive me if I talk too fast. You know, I'm an East Coast girl. But it's because I would rather say rather you say at the end, she taught me so much, so much that, maybe I missed a few things versus, meh, that was cool. So make sure you're taking good notes. Make sure you're turning off all your distractions. The room is quiet and you're really engaged in this because this is really important information. And so at the end, I'll have an awesome surprise for you. Yay. So, okay. Let's kind of get to it though. This special power hour is really for you if you feel like you are fed up with not having enough money in the bank, basically being broke in between paydays and you're kind of uncertain about your financial picture. Obviously, you're not doing bad. This is definitely not a webinar on the internet is not going to, attract the homeless. But you definitely could be doing better is what you're trying. So this is who I'm talking to. And, if you're a successful and professional woman that isn't afraid to try new things and kind of think a different way than how other people are thinking, and you just need a reasonable plan that makes sense to follow, that doesn't include a ton of money or risk, so you can feel more comfortable and know that you are secure in your personal finances. So basically, if you want to stop running on that corporate treadmill and have all the money that you need to live stress-free and enjoy life on your terms. So I am about to spill the tea, so let's go. So what you're going to learn today are 3 easy things that you can do right now to go get your first profitable wholesale deal. We're going to go ahead and crack the code on how to go starting from zero to a $15,000 deal in less than 30 days by doing only one thing that takes about an hour a day, okay? But first, is the real estate market worth investing in? So we haven't gotten 2018's numbers yet, but in 2017, and I'm sure 2018 was actually, if not very close to being better, it was like right under 2017. We had one of the best real estate markets in over 100 years. House values are increasing at record numbers. However, they're not increasing at those crazy numbers where we're about to see a bubble. That is not going on. House prices are not like, oh my God, I bought this house and now the next day it's worth more money and everyone's fighting to buy it. We're in a great market. It's very stable. Interest rates are the lowest when adjusted for inflation, which creates an ideal investor market because that means you have a great place to get money and for other people to buy your homes to have money. It's a great real estate market overall. Additionally, new lending guidelines and regulations have helped real estate around the country. So these new rules restore the confidence in the real estate market and it worked to prevent future market crashes. So a lot of these things that you're hearing about, oh my gosh, those are doomsdayers. These people will just predict that every single day. And eventually after, 30 years, they'll be correct. And so that's to me, those fear tactics, I don't enjoy them. And I don't enjoy that pessimism. So none of the indicators, economic indicators, point to a housing crash. So, obviously I have no crystal ball, but I do have a master's degree from Penn State in economic development. And so I can tell you the economic indicators are really clear usually. And I can tell you what they are. I won't get into it on this call. You guys will fall asleep, but they're just not there at this time. So, it's stable. It's a very stable but rising market. That is what you want. Like I said, the real estate market is growing year over year. The real estate business increased by 12%. Now, again, that's nationally. And in fact, population growth cannot keep up with the demand for housing, especially in some markets. It is really bad. Inventory is really low. And that's why you are seeing a lot of the multiple offers, which is awesome for real estate investors because we're going to talk about how to find properties for wholesale prices. So that's the deal. You don't want to be, you want a great market where people feel like they can make money in real estate investing. So that's really important if you're only going to be using this one strategy, which is wholesaling, which is what a lot of people will use when they first get into the business. So real estate investing is an economy-proof business if you know what you're doing. So, if certain things are happening, you'll do this strategy. If there's certain other things are happening, you do this strategy, or you can kind of switch markets. Technology cannot replace the need for housing. I'm sorry, you can't live in a cell phone or a laptop. And, like I said, there's no such thing as a bad bad economy for a savvy investor, because savvy investors actually make more money in so-called bad economy. So although there's these doomsday preppers out there, I'm not afraid of a real estate crash. I know what to do. You switch strategies and things like that. So we're going to talk about, though, the market that we're in and what to do in this market. So before we dive into the teaching, let me take a quick minute just to tell you who you're listening to and why I'm even qualified to teach you about real estate investing. So, hi friends, I'm Noelle. I have over 18 years experience in real estate in the mortgage field. I started my company, FDR Horizons, which is the one that I kind of work under now. And of course, I have many LLCs, but this one created many popular brands and investments under it. I've made over $3 billion in less than 2 years. I have a portfolio currently of over 40 properties. I've negotiated over 200 deals. Today, it's a multi-million-dollar a year business. And so now my mission is creating women who win in real estate. I really feel like there are too few of us in the business, and it is time for that to change, because when we are in the business, we do very well. And yep, that is me playing golf, which I enjoy immensely. I put this picture up here because it's very, very funny. And I actually use this picture, and I'll tell you this really quickly because I want you guys to relate to this. Notice what I am wearing. Those are not golf clothes at all. I love playing golf. I actually had not prepared for that trip to play golf, and so I couldn't actually golf. That's the funny thing. So you see, I'm just there practicing my shot. You cannot go onto a golf course with those clothes on, and I was not allowed on the golf course. I did not have my gear. And so they would not let me golf. And it actually was a funny picture. I'll show it to people, but most people that don't play golf don't know that that is just a ridiculous outfit that I have on to play golf. And you cannot golf in that, but I actually do have a lot of golfing clothes, and I look really corny when I wear them. So this is actually a more fashionable statement, but it's hilarious because it's just, you cannot wear that on a golf course, and they didn't allow me to golf in that. So ha ha ha. But I believe in teachers who walk the walk. You know, this is not about teaching about real estate investing and not actually doing real estate investing. So I am an active real estate investor, and and so the things that I'm teaching you, these are not old or outdated things, which they work. And so this is what we're going to be talking about, because it is important that if you're listening to someone, they are currently doing what they're talking about doing. You know, it's just kind of my opinion. So this is me and my family, me and all of my 5 children. Yes, there is 5 biological and 2 bonus. I actually have 2 older stepdaughters, so I always say 5 with 2 bonus kids. Very big family, love them to death, and I'm really blessed with twins. You'll see over in that left-hand picture at the top. That is me with my twins. They are now 1.5 years old, and I just feel so blessed to be able to spend all the time that I want with them and all the rest of my children. And so there you go. So I've also been featured on many radio stations, and I've just most recently in the past summer, I did a radio tour on Fox News for children's literacy. It's one of my passions. As you can see here, I am a children's book author, and now that I get to do what I want with my time, I found time to write. You know, children, I absolutely love children. Obviously, you can see me and my tribe. So, but children's literacy and children's books are really important to me, and that children are reading. So that's one of my great accomplishments. So, but top of the class, you know, just letting you guys know, this is kind of my educational background. Really quickly, recently graduated from, well, not recently now, but most recently, I should say, from Baylor with my MBA. So not just teaching you real estate investing. So, but real estate investing has transformed me, and it's transformed my life. It transformed me into barely making it each month, working mom, you know, to carefree millionaire. It's created my most freedom-filled, experience-driven lifestyle. It's allowed me to help hundreds of families who've needed my services, and it's allowed me to give back to my community in unbelievable ways. And it's incredible being able to help people and still have the life that you dreamed of having. And so, but these are my real estate investing street creds. Like I said, I started investing in real estate with absolutely no money and credit. I say that the second time because that's kind of how I started. I had to because I was totally broke. So which is why I'm going to tell you what to do in that case. But in my 3rd month in the business, I made over $40,000. You know, I discovered how to flip contracts in other states without ever leaving my home, only spending about 2 hours a day doing it. While not knowing what I teach you. So I have students doing it way faster than I did. Then I made $400,000 in the first year, now consistently to about $1 million a year. So basically about 80 grand a month, a little over 80. Sometimes it's, 70 something. Sometimes it's 90. You get 2 good flips that pay you 45. You've made over $90,000 that month, and those are real numbers. So I can teach you exactly how I did that, but real estate is just smart. I can't say that enough. When my dad started thinking about retirement, he immediately realized he needed physical investments. His financial planner asked him this question: how many properties do you own? And he told me he was embarrassed to say that he only owned the home that he lived in. And I kind of smiled because that means to me, even financial planners know that retirement accounts are not stable. They're not easily liquidated as property. And so then you have this person, that does your retirement asking you about real estate. So because real estate creates millionaires, not the other way around. There's so many people, and I just really need to burn this quote into people's heads. This is, Noelle's quote: real estate creates millionaires, not the other way around. People think you have to be a millionaire to start investing in real estate, and it's actually the exact opposite. You can start from zero and become that. So that's why real estate is the clear winner. It's faster than 401ks. It's faster than the stock market, mutual funds, budgeting, or even a business startup per se. Now, again, I would say you would make your real estate business a business, but we'll talk about that. Less capital is required. You can't just go and buy stocks with no money. You could borrow the money and then buy stocks, but you'd be waiting around. And it's easier to grow net worth and increase your personal income. So according to studies, nearly 92% of all working adults do not have enough saved for retirement and would be unable to save enough money based on their current income / liability situation, based on obviously what they owe, to ever retire or have the lives that they desire for themselves. And this isn't just my opinion. The numbers, like my hips, don't lie. So here are the facts. Real estate over retirement accounts. Like I said, historically, real estate has always increased in America, and real estate has a concept called forced appreciation, wherein the property is improved to create appreciation. So again, it sounds more complicated than it is, but you cannot just add value to a stock. That's actually kind of illegal. But what you can do with real estate investing, as you already know, is the property can be improved to increase its value. And so you can force the appreciation. You can't do that with retirement accounts. Real estate over the stock market. Real estate finance allows others to create wealth for you automatically. So each month that your loan balance is decreasing, your property value is rising. And then real estate over savings account. The U.S. government likes real estate investors and uses the tax system to encourage our purchase and leasing of property. So, there's no rewards or tax benefits for savings accounts. That's just a fact. So the cold hard fact is real estate over everything. Real estate is the overall winner in creating wealth, hands down. It provides both active and passive income. Active income investing for lump sums of cash, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And then we'll talk about, and then passive income strategies for long-term wealth building. So you can grow a portfolio 132 times faster than your average savings or budgeting strategy. You can pay down your debts 77 times faster by increasing income, creating higher net worth. And this is, again, from 2 different websites, from Bigger Pockets and from Market Watch. So this is me quoting them. And low risk strategies do work. So I really just kind of have to get that out of there. A lot of times people think, wholesaling, I'm not sure, it's a low risk, but it works. So there's this myth. You have to risk a lot to make a lot. And the truth of the matter is, I started as a working mom and I could not afford to lose money. I could not. It just was not in my, I didn't have it to lose. So, this is another myth. You need to have money to make money. Like I said, I was a few months out of foreclosure when I started with with what I'm teaching you. So I didn't have ish. I really did not. And, you know, there's another myth. Trying to learn real estate investing is complicated. You know, you have to be really smart. And I'm not saying I'm a dummy, but I was super dumb I was a disaster in personal finance, a disaster. It's not even funny what I was doing. And I cringe. My coach taught it all to me. So plus today you have more opportunity than ever before to succeed in real estate just because of Donald Trump. Right? I'm just kidding. Don't shoot me. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is just a joke. Nothing to do with politics at all. This is kind of just a joke, but it is about the art of the deal. And so that's what you're going to be focusing on. That's what we're going to really be talking about. So the art of the deal, we know, is a popular title, and it's a very true concept, but not in the traditional way. Don't think of deals as negotiations. Think of the deal, okay? And the deal is the numbers, and that's really what this is going to always boil down to. It's either the numbers work and you have a deal, or the numbers don't work and it's not a deal. So if someone comes, you know, you always a deal. What is a deal? You know, what is a real estate deal really? It's a deal where there's profit, basically. So everything in investing is about the numbers, okay? And you have to win the deal. Numbers do not lie. You must stick to your numbers. You have to win, then win again, and then win more, and now you're rolling, okay? And then that's how you transition out of this corporate treadmill thing and get to winning deals all the time and being able to kind of pick which deals you want to do and which ones you don't want to do. So in almost every situation, of course, you want to buy low and sell high. And as a wholesaler, you're going to be helping people buy low, okay? So you get the concept. Because buying at the lowest price means the opportunity for bigger profits. And so you got to kind of think of the repair cost. So we'll get into that. So don't forget about the repair cost. That should always be into your numbers. So I picked this quote out, and I'll go to it really quickly, is 90% of all millionaires became so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. This is from Andrew Carnegie. Everybody pretty much knows who Carnegie is. And what I find, and why I bring this quote up, especially to my group, and I do this all the time, because I want you to focus on two real words here. The wise young man. So obviously Andrew Carnegie was in the early 1900s, and only men could or did, you know, when women couldn't even vote then, invest in real estate. And so he's talking to men, and that still rings true, what he's talking about. Now, the sad part about it, though, is this was over 100 years ago that this quote was said, and it's still mostly men. And so just replace the word men and put women. And then we're wage earners. If you have a job, you're just a wage earner, not just, but you're a wage earner. And so he's saying you invest that money into real estate, and that's how you will become a millionaire. So really think about that for a second. Really think about young man, because you don't have to be young. I said just man, and then wage earner, because women are wage earners now. We earn money. We take care of families, and yet we're really, really outnumbered and disproportionately represented in real estate investing. And that is super important that we start to take a stand for one another, and that we get into this, because this is where we should be. And the important thing for you to know is those other things, I gave it to you. It won't cut it. Retirement accounts are not enough. You can't save or budget your way to rich. You can't save your way to rich. That's because that wouldn't be rich, because then you're going to be living off that, and you're going to be living in scarcity because you're not earning income. Okay. And I'm telling you that as a person who knows money now, and who is not as dumb as I used to be. And all other investment strategies are basically inferior. I gave you the numbers. It's not just Noel making up numbers. These are the facts from quoted reliable sources. And real estate has the easiest and fastest return. And I say easiest because I'm going to tell you the easier way. Now, obviously, there's some people that might disagree, and they think it's hard because they don't know what to do. So let's talk about it. You have to, though, become royalty. You have to, especially as a woman, you have to get on your throne and and go above the fray. You're going to have to get away from where everyone else is and what everyone else is doing. You are not going to be down on the ground scrounging around for deals. That is not what this is about. You are a queen, and you are going to put on your crown, and you're going to act as such, okay? Because real estate investing has been this secret society, you know what I mean? Real estate values have been increasing nationally, you know, at, like I said, at a rate of 4 to 5% a year. State that I'm in, Texas, more rapidly, way more rapidly. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, even more, 10% year over year in most areas. Yet, there are less than 18 active female real estate investors in the most popular real estate investor association. So the Real Estate Investing Association in my area that has the most members have only 18 active. When I wrote this, it was 18 active. Now, yeah, lots of them show up to meetings and come and listen and gather information and research, but none of them are actually doing deals. So you doing this and getting in this puts you in this really elite class. And that's why I'm saying you really have to change your mindset and become a royalty, because you're less than 1% of the 1%, okay? Real estate investing has many no-cost ways to start. Therefore, getting into the business is pretty simple. You know, the techniques can be implemented immediately. This is not like, you know, got to go to school, got to do a certification, got to get a real estate license. None of those things are necessary. And new investors have the same opportunity to get a deal just as much as a seasoned investor, because real estate investors are problem solvers. They're big problem solvers. A person has a big house, even if they have a small house that's $100,000, that's a $100,000 problem for them. Real estate investors are on a level playing field because of that. Because a person has a problem, they need a solution, and they don't care who has the solution. They only care if you have the solution and if you're the person. So the great thing about it is people without experience can come into the business and start making profits. So that's an awesome thing. So if you desire a lifestyle kind of like mine in terms of profits that I told you about, and, you know, my love of freedom and my strong sense of calm, where we're not going to be dealing with stressful things, like I said, not going to be scrounging around on the floor, we're going to stay on our throne. If you want a portfolio of real estate investments that are diverse, stable, and consistently profitable, that allow you to work as little as much as you like, you know, the ability to cherry pick which deals you want and which ones you don't want. That's super important. And that's definitely where we're going with this. And that's why you're royalty. And, you know, I can't wait to teach you how to follow in my footsteps with wins like this. So I'm going to give you a few deals and show you that I got paid on, sharing these very specifically because they happened very early on. And, you know, when I didn't even know all of the tricks that I know now that I'm going to show you later, just to show you the potential of this, you know? So it might sound like a lot to you at first, but it's proof that real estate is the way to go, and why now is the perfect time to get in the business. So, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So it's funny because it's not my latest wholesale deal now, but this was just a couple of months ago, $28,000 profit on this house, you know? So found it, and through probate, someone had died and the house was left, and it was actually in pretty good condition. It had a lot of trees that need to be cleared out, but this was actually a great deal that I got paid on. This, the person on the left, that was one of my students, Barbara, a really awesome lady who didn't even like computers and didn't want to do anything with a computer. And that's her holding her check. And it was over $10,000. And then on the right, it was my dad's first, by himself, his first deal by himself that he did, where he just, you know, I told him 5,000 was the minimum, and he was just showing me that, you know, he made $4,750 on a wholesale deal. So in case you were thinking, that sounds easy for you, but I'm shy and I don't have a college degree and all this blah, 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 that crap, I want to introduce you to a few of my students. So this was Carla, and after working 9 years at a major bank, she was laid off. Then she took my course and made $18,000. This was her net on her very first deal, and she's never looked back. So this is what she kind of wrote to me. She wrote, "Coolest win so far. I was driving for dollars, spotted a house with a city code violation plaster on the door. After just knocking on the door and talking to the seller for just a few minutes, I walked away with a signed contract to buy the house for $100,000. I took my contract to my local real estate investor association, and I flipped the contract to another investor for $120,000. Also, you know, I made a quick 20, but the even better thing is the investor I sold it to benefited because he flipped the house and made over $63,000. So she wholesaled the deals. If you kind of can understand what happened, she wholesaled it. And why it was such an awesome thing is just showing you is that the spread that you're looking for and that I teach that you're going to learn is that both people benefited. You see, the person that she flipped it to made $63,000. So that's the win for the investor. And that's why wholesaling is an awesome thing to do. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, blah, 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 who wouldn't want a $63,000 deal? So she got the smaller end of it as the wholesaler. However, there was lots of room in the deal. Okay. And so like she's super sweet. And this was Brittany. So within 6 months of, you know, finishing the class, she went from $300 in her bank, 300 to over $100,000. In my bank account, I was able to comfortably quit my job to spend more time with my 2-year-old daughter. She was 2 at the time. I'm so thankful. I've seen real results, and I'm so excited for what's in store for the future. This was Nikki. Nikki was actually a manager at a fast food restaurant. So again, I'm not saying that that sounded weird. Not saying that she was not smart at all, but just showing you all different types of work, because Brittany actually worked in marketing. She went from working to wealthy. She just, like I said, my income went from $42,000 to $311,000 in less than a year, thanks to your class. You know, becoming a real estate investor was the best decision I've ever made. I only work about 2 hours per day, and she closes about 4 to 5 deals a month. Now, mind you, that's only about a deal a week. This is not these are not crazy numbers to get to those incomes. The marketing strategies you outlined were cheap and easy to follow. I made a few phone calls and I spent the rest of my day at the beach. My boyfriend loves the new Relax Me. So that's awesome. She's in Florida. So here's what's possible. While I have some students come to me, like I said, with $10,000 or $50,000 to invest in real estate, these ones all started with less than $1,000, $500, and $200. And so whether, you know, they were working professional or working class or unemployed, the most important thing is not their current financial status, but it's that they were able to make big profits no matter where they started. And that is what I cared about. So you can own lots of investment properties and be broke. Quantity does not equal profits. I say this a lot because people seem to think in order to be a wealthy real estate investor, you have to own a lot of properties. And that's just simply not true. Quantity alone is like chrome wheels. They look all shiny, but that does not make them valuable. You want more profits, not more properties. You know, you want bigger profits, not more deals. This is not about more. This is about better. So, you know, like I said, I care about you making smart deals that are profitable and do not require a lot of your time so that you can carve out the life of leisure that you desire. So if that sounds like you, here's a visual of the whole real estate investing blueprint. Okay, so this is my whole blueprint. It's just 3 steps: market, convert, solve. So we're going to be taking a portion of this and I'm going to be teaching it to you today in today's class. And so this is from the Fast Track to Freedom. So this is wholesaling. So how to get your first wholesale deal fast. This is an excerpt from the Women Who Win Fast Track to Freedom program. But the key that you need to know is buying right. The key to really making money wholesaling is to think like a fix and flipper. Okay, so let's kind of think about that. So I know you guys have seen, there's no shows on HGTV, I don't want to get sued, about wholesaling. They talk about all the fixing, flipping. So everyone is really familiar with fixing and flipping. So that's actually a really good thing if you're trying to invest as a wholesaler and say, okay, I'm going to start at wholesaling, okay? And so the key to it, though, is thinking like a fix and flipper, because that's most likely who you're going to be flipping your contract to. So you really, and I don't mean, and I mean very specifically, think like a fix and flipper. Even if you're going to wholesale the properties, I'm going to tell you something. Property where they might not fix and flip it. They might just go ahead and take it and put a tenant in it. But that's not the key. The key is your numbers have to work like they're going to be flipping it and doing repairs in the whole 9. So let's kind of talk about this for a second. Wholesaling is about problem solving. Okay, it's about problem solving. So you have to start by finding houses that are below market value. And then, of course, how are you going to find a house that's below market value? You must find people with property problems. They must have some type of problem. The roof must be leaking and falling apart, or they must have lost their job and they're behind on the mortgage, or they inherited the house and they don't even want it, or they're, I can get a little gruesome. Maybe someone died in the house and they no longer want it anymore. But you must get really specific about finding people with problems, with property problems, okay? This is step one, okay? Because wholesaling is about big paydays, but most people have no idea how to find these properties. Everybody wants the payday and they heard about it and they heard the term and blah, blah, blah. But it's, you got to be able to find these properties. And so you have to kind of, again, drill down. You gotta do it right. So I joke because you got to do this thing right, okay? So because wholesaling is not just about, people get the general concept, okay, I get the property, I got it, and then I find somebody to buy it. Okay, how are you gonna do that? Let's talk about that. You must find people with property problems, okay? This is not just about finding properties below market value. They have to have an actual problem, and you have to really, and just because they're in foreclosure, that's, people automatically think just because they're in foreclosure, that's a problem. They may not see it as a problem. I swear to God, they may not know that that is a property problem. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk about wholesaling success, though. Why you have to be successful. You have to be able to find wholesale deals. So let's kind of talk about that. What you'll do, very simply, is market to people with property problems. So let's go through some of the things that would be a property problem, just so we are all on the same page. It could be a pre-foreclosure where the person is behind on their mortgage payments, or they are already facing foreclosure or in foreclosure. Now, of course, that is one of the more popular things that people go for. It's not necessarily what I'm going to recommend, but I'm just giving you all of them right now. And bankruptcy. That is obviously if the person is in bankruptcy, something happened, they lost their job, they're losing, things are going, they're getting divorced. Obviously, a lot of divorcees and divorced couples. One person cannot afford the house usually on their own, or in the divorce, they had to sell the property because they must split the proceeds, and one spouse does not have the money to buy the other spouse out. So it is being mandated that the property is sold and the proceeds from the sale are then split, okay? So that is why divorce, the actual thing of divorce leads to a property problem. Property code violations. This, I cannot tell you enough. This is a great thing, but most people do not know what they're doing, or they, because there's a lot of free information. Obviously, this is free too. Property code violations. Oh, great. I'll just go find someone that has a property code violation and they'll sell me their house. That is definitely someone that is a hoarder and things of that nature. They will get a notification from the city. A lot of times there's people that'll have too many cats and dogs and crazy stuff like that. And the city or the county, whatever the municipality is that enforces those codes, they will slap a violation on them, or they will leave it on the property. In many places, it looks like a big yellow sticker. Some of them is blue. You can call and find out. Google. You can actually just Google it from here. Like, what does a property code violation look like? Because sometimes they'll just stick it on the door. Sometimes, obviously, they just mail it. It's the first violation. They're just going to mail it to them to let them know, hey, your blah 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 is blah blah blah. And that's why you kind of have to be a little bit. We'll talk about that in a second. A little bit more savvy as to which type of property code violations you're looking for, because they send those out all the time. So people may get one for just their trash cans, being left out too long, or they're in the wrong place and things like that. So got to get really specific again with property code violations, which ones. Landlord lists. A lot of times people are landlords and they don't want to be, and you can offer to get all of their properties that way and then get them under contract because they are tired of being a landlord. So I would say tired landlords. Expired listings are awesome. If someone has decided that they were going to list and sell their house, that means they already made the decision that they did not want the house anymore. How awesome is that? They already made the decision that they did not want the house and they wanted to sell it, yet they tried and failed. Okay, so is that a property problem, people? Yes, that's a property problem. They really wanted to sell their house. They went ahead, hired a real estate agent, did all this stuff, had people trampling through their home, and it did not sell. It's an expired listing. So great lead there. Craigslist. Craigslist is an amazing way to find real estate investing leads. Every day, you know, and it's free. I think that's another thing that's great about Craigslist. You can put ads out there. You can call on the ads. There's just a few things, a lot of things that you can do with Craigslist that are amazing. For sale by owner, the FSBO we call them. So these are people that wanted to sell the house themselves, you know, so this is basically like the expired listing, but not necessarily. They've made the decision that they want to sell the house. They are just, for some reason, deciding that they want to do it on their own. Now, the great thing about that is they don't realize how hard that is. Let me just say that, especially if they just put like a for sale sign in front of their own house and, you know, are just hoping someone drives by and wants to come buy it. They that would be more, it's funny, they're probably going to get nothing. So you calling them is going to be great. Tax late. So tax liens and people are delinquent taxes is a great resource, a great lead to follow when people that are late on their taxes, especially if they're consistently late year after year. Obviously, they're having an issue. Probate. I can't stress this enough. Probate is an awesome way to get properties, and you know, I have some special things that I can talk to you a little bit later about with probate. But probate is basically someone died and there's a property. Not always, but there's a pretty easy way to find out if there's a property in the probate case. And usually, and I say usually, generally speaking, they do not keep the property, but usually they don't have a tie to the property. So it's a great thing that they usually just want to sell it. You know, heirs want to split the money and be done with it. Section 8 landlord list. I cannot tell you what a gold mine Section 8 landlord list can be. Most people don't take the time, the education that's necessary to really have and to be a Section 8 landlord. They just think it's an awesome thing because Section 8 will guarantee them that money, not necessarily realizing that those tenants are of a different caliber. You know, I'm saying that they're bad and they're all bad, none of those things. However, most people are just not prepared for some of the things that go along with it, and even just to keeping up with remaining a person or a landlord that can rent to Section 8 people. So there's a lot that goes with that. It's a great thing to get into if you have the time, but it's something you want to get really, if you decided you wanted to be a Section 8 landlord, for example, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing, because not knowing is costly, knowing is awesome. With everything, like with everything. Door knocking. So of course you can go and literally knock on doors and offer to buy people's houses. That is totally something you can do. And then there's signs that they're really ready to sell, you know. So say, for example, you're scouting a neighborhood, you see a tarp, for example, on a roof. Most people, that means the person's trying to protect their home with a piece of plastic, you know. So you're trying to protect this $100,000 investment with plastic. So is that an indication of a property problem? I think it is. And you simply can knock on the door. You can leave your business card, things of that nature. And that is a very effective way. If you get really, again, strategic with what you do, you don't want to just drive around or knock on every door. That's just crazy. And then that's what driving for dollars kind of is as well. So it's kind of the same thing. Door knocking is literally leaving your card or knocking on the door. Driving for dollars, you may just take down the address and then go home and do a little bit of research, but you would be looking for vacant, abandoned, or dilapidated properties, okay, when you're driving for dollars. And also you would want to get really specific with where you're driving. Driving for dollars has a science and an art to it as well, mostly a science. Driving, I don't know, just driving anywhere and everywhere doesn't seem fun to me. So that's not necessarily what I would recommend, but it is definitely something that does work if you know where to drive and what you're looking for. But I want to give you a real example of what a typical landlord is like and how you can really make a lot of money with wholesaling pretty quickly. Okay, so let me tell you about a typical landlord, kind of just what happens, and you'll get something from this story, I promise you, because this is a true story. So there's a guy that wanted to get into real estate. So he decided to buy 6 rental properties, and He used a real estate agent, and the real estate agent told him about a growing suburb of Dallas, with lots of rental property. So let me just take a quick sidebar and explain to you something about real estate agents. Real estate agents are not always, most likely, most of the time, they are not real estate investors. And real estate agents and real estate investors are two separate animals. Real estate agent is not real estate investor, and real estate agent is not expert in real estate investing. Okay, so let's be really, really clear that most real estate agents know very little about real estate investing. And I'm just being, I know that's generally speaking. And I'm also telling you, I have my real estate license in both Texas and Florida. I used to hold my Georgia license. My mom has her Connecticut. So I'm not saying anything about real estate agents. I need people to understand that real estate agents often steer investors in the wrong direction with real estate investing, so far in the wrong direction. And so there's the opportunity there. This is what I'm trying to share with you. Because that happens, and I'm telling you, don't let it happen to you. That is an opportunity, because here's what usually happens. Phone calls during the night, broken pipes, new paints and carpet for every tenant. Then the HVAC went on 2 of the properties. This is, again, true story. In a hot Texas summer, the emergency repair on those 2 houses, because this is Texas, there's no waiting. You have to do the emergency repair. It was nearly $15,000 that this guy paid out. And so all of his profits were lost. Plus, he had 2 tenants that were behind, and he's got mortgages to pay, okay? So would this guy want to stop being a landlord? Okay, let me ask you that question. What do you think? Do you think that if this happened to this person who totally didn't know what they were doing, they were put in the wrong direction, they got 6 properties, real estate agent had them buy in this suburb, not even a great area for rental properties, and he's not making the money. In fact, he's losing money, and now he just had a big loss, and he's upset and he's desperate. And he has 6 properties, though. Isn't that awesome? So do you think he wants to sell just the 2 that are behind, or just the 2 that he had to put new HVACs in? So great new HVACs in those 2 properties. And he has 2 others to boot. So he has 6 properties. He's not going to want to just sell the 2 with the HVAC problem or 2 that are behind. He's going to want to get out of this altogether. And he's going to be like wiping his hands with this, because he didn't know what he was doing, and he still doesn't. And he's ready to bail. And so this is how you can pick up 6 properties that you could wholesale. Like I got them. I got all 6 houses, all of them at wholesale prices, because real estate investors are dream tenants. So if I say to him, for example, I'll take those off of your hands. Just sign, we can do certain things. And there's lots of things that you can do to get really creative. You can actually lease the properties yourself, all 6 of them. You can take them over. You can have the deed signed over. You can do subject to, like just a ton of different things that you can do. But you have 6 properties. So this is a great way to do it really quickly. You're looking for someone that has a lot of properties. This is awesome. Think about this for a second. Can you see how powerful this is? Someone with 6 properties and they want to get rid of all of them. That's 6 deals for you. Okay, do you see? So you're not looking for onesies, twosies. You can use a strategy like this and get 6, jackpot. Okay, so your number 1 win is you need to know that a successful wholesaler is a problem solver, okay? You have to be able to solve those problems, so you are looking for problems, okay? Pro secret number 2 is super important. You gotta know the formula. You need to know your numbers. We talked about the art of the deal, but you need to know, and the question is always, how much should I pay, okay? So some people call this the max, I forget what they always, I say the max cash offer. Some say like max allowable offer, sorry. And so MCO, max cash offer, is 70% of your ARV, which was your after repair value, minus the repairs, okay? So drill this number into your head, because as a wholesaler, you almost have to stick to this number. You can never stray from it. You definitely can go 60 and 65 and all those other things, but as a wholesaler, if that's your only strategy, you got to know your numbers, okay? So let's talk. What does that mean? Let me give you a quick example. So seller calls to sell the house. They have a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. comparable market analysis. So that's you looking up the properties and that are near the house, and seeing what they're worth, already, in great, in sellable condition, on, you can use Zillow or Trulia, Realtor.com. There's a bunch of websites you can use to see what houses are selling for in that neighborhood. So the after repair value that you come up with, and again, this is a hypothetical analysis for me just to show you an example. After repair value is $100,000. You determine that the repairs needed are $18,000. So your max cash offer in this example will be $52,000. That's 70% times 100,000. So then 70,000 minus the 18,000 is $52,000. Okay, so we're clear there. So a successful wholesaler pays the right price. Okay, you cannot overpay. You're not going to do not even one wholesale deal getting it for the wrong price or paying too much. So let's be really clear. So pro secret number 3, wholesalers are cash buyers. That's what I'm saying. You got to put on your queen, got to crown yourself. You are a cash buyer, because as a wholesaler, you're going to get the property under contract as a cash buyer, because you're going to flip it to someone that is a cash buyer. So it doesn't have to necessarily be you, but you are going to give it to a cash buyer, because for the most part, the property does need some type of repair or something to that effect. Maybe not even necessarily, even if it's a property, like I said, from a house that was inherited or something like that, it usually needs at least some paint and some things like that. So you want to make sure that you know that you're a cash buyer. When you approach sellers and when you market as a cash buyer, okay? And so we'll talk about this in a second. Actually, we'll skip past this. But I will tell you this, because in my first deal, I partnered with my coach. And, I found the property using some of the stuff that I'm telling you, property problems. He helped me with the number. He financed the deal. He gave me 30%, which came out to be $17,000. So that's not bad for about 2 hours worth of work. Would you agree? Would you agree? Everybody in agreement? Okay, that's awesome. 2 hours. So you can just market and really, really partner with some people. So this was not one where I wholesale to him, because that's an option. This was one, well, he was my coach, so he actually partnered with me. So this is very possible and super easy. Your number 3 win is you got to know that you're not going to be using your own money or credit to make a profit. Like you must know that, and you cannot go into it thinking that you would. And if you start thinking about, oh, well, how much money do I have to buy these houses with? You're in the wrong direction. Okay, you're not going to be using your own money or credit to get into wholesaling. Okay, so that's not required. That is a win. So you got to just go get a deal is what it comes down to. Because wholesaling requires you not to buy the property. Essentially, you're getting it under contract. You want equitable rights to the property, okay? You want an interest in buying the property. That's what the purchase contract is. When you say, okay, I'll buy it, and of course you're buying it with the intention to sell it, and we'll talk about it in a second. Because you'll never have enough money to just like buy a bunch of real estate. Like no matter how much money you have, you're never going to just be out spending it buying a bunch of real estate. That's some stuff that you see on TV where people are just like in their bank account, in MLS, running around with a real estate agent buying a bunch of properties. That's just probably not the best. I mean, if you have a buku, I guess, amount of money, I still wouldn't recommend it. It just doesn't make sense. Because the bottom line to it is you already have enough money. Okay, you already have enough money, because you don't have to have that money to start. You do not need a bunch of money to buy properties. The only money you would really need is to market, to find those sellers. Okay, do you get that concept? It is not about buying the property. It's not having money to buy the property. So go get a deal. Like I said, it's an open market. You can start today and compete with seasoned investors. If you're getting to that person and you market it to them, and again, very specifically, you're not going to just take that whole list that I ran off to you. You're going to pick, a strategy, pick a property problem type and then go market to it. So you're not going to be all over the place. So when you get to that person that has a property problem, it's going to be a level playing field. Whoever finds that person first wins usually. Unless that first person can't close the deal, unless they don't know what they're doing, they have no clue. So one trick ponies are usually not the winners. Okay, so if you only know that one little thing, then you probably won't be the winner. Or if you don't know what to say, then you probably won't win. But if you got it and you understand what to say and how to solve their problem, you're going to be getting the deal. So you can go from zero to cie-ro. Go make an offer. Go make an offer. You know the formula. You know what property problems you'll be marketing to. You know, I've given you. So like I said, you're a cash buyer. You know the formula. You know how to find a deal. You have two options when you get the thing under contract. You can just sell the contract. That's what most people would, you know, starting off would do. They would just sell the contract. So that's, you get the property under contract, and then you flip it to another investor. You basically are selling it to. So if you like what the example I gave with Carla, she got the house under contract for $100,000, and she sold the contract essentially to that end buyer, that end investor, who then flipped it and made the $63,000. She sold the contract. Or you could do a double closing. Okay, so depending on what your profit is, you may go ahead, get some transactional funding. Now, again, this is not your money. This is why I talked about other people's money, private money, hard lending, because you're just going to be able to, you're just going to fund that deal and then go to the next deal immediately. So you may close on that house in the morning, get it for the $100,000, just using round numbers, and then do the closing, and then do another closing, selling it for the $120,000. That way, the investor that you're selling it to doesn't know what you paid for it. So it really depends on how much profit you're making, what that investor's comfortability level is with how much money you're making, and how much of a deposit that you got. If you got a $5,000 like non-refundable deposit, most people aren't going to just walk away from that if they see that you're making 30 grand. They might. So we can talk about that though. So again, you want to make sure that you assign the contract, that you can assign the contract. So the way that you would write the contract is you're going to put and or assign. So for example, you'll get the contract when you're saying, okay, got this, I'm going to buy your house, you have a property problem. Jane Doe and or assigns is how you would fill in the contract as the buyer, so that you can assign that contract, basically sell that contract to someone else, okay? And you actually don't have to put that language in there, but you should, okay? Because some real estate contracts, well, I'll go back. Some real estate contracts already have that language in there, depending on what state you're in. So partnering. That's what you need to do once you get the contracts. Like I said, I know over 100 real estate investors, and you can too. And you probably do in our group and things like that. You can go to closed Facebook groups as well. You can join real estate investor associations. Obviously, you're already in one. Find meetups, other meetups. I'm totally okay with, you being in other meetups if that's what you're trying to do, especially with wholesaling, to know and have outlets for your properties. Not necessary, because we have a very great real estate group, of women that we're using, and I would prefer. But again, this is not about me or this organization. It's about you getting your deal sold. Again, you write your contracts with a $10 option fee. So in your contract, make sure that you give yourself a period of time where you get to do your due diligence to make sure that you can vet your numbers, you can vet send a contractor to the house. Not that you even have to go, you send a contractor, but he's giving you the time. So the most that you'd lose in that case would be your $10 option fee. Now, some people won't go for it. They might want a $100 one, but this is where then you would negotiate, and you can totally negotiate. I start with 10, like I said. That's why a lot of times I don't want to be dealing with real estate agents, because most sellers have no idea. They really don't. Now, they do sometimes balk about, earnest money and stuff like that, because they know that term, but most sellers have no idea about option fees. And so that's where you win. They only really know about earnest money. And so they're like, oh, I need earnest money. And at that point, I'm okay with giving earnest money. And sometimes you can even get the earnest money from the real estate investor that you're selling it to, or the money that they give you with the deposit. And we'll talk about that in a second. So either way, though, if you gave, say, for example, you gave a $500 earnest money, because this was a really savvy seller, which is weird for a motivated seller in most cases. But this guy, is in foreclosure, and he's losing his house, and he wants to make sure you're really going to buy the house, okay? And so he asks you for the standard $500 earnest money, and you're totally going to give it, because you're going to do an option. You're going to say, yeah, I need 20 days, 15 days, 30 days, whatever you negotiate, to do my due diligence, and I can cancel and terminate this contract. They don't even necessarily, you don't even have to, it's in the contract, that you can terminate the contract within that period, and the only thing that you would lose is your option fee. And then 2, I actually have a contract that tells you about liquidated damages. If, say, for example, you were past that, where the earnest money would be the only thing that you could lose, okay? So then you go shop the deal. That's it. You go shop it. You get the contract. You did it. Go shop the deal to see how much money you could get for it. You'd already have backed into your numbers, so you'd already know that. Like, you know what the house is worth. You've done your due diligence. You sent the contractor out there. You have these great things. You're going to put that little package together. Because you want to put together a professional package. If you're wholesaling, you're not going to just say to a real estate investor, hey, I have this great address. What will you give me for it? No, you're going to have the price that you want for it. You're going to have your pictures. You have your little video. Now, again, you can make the video. Your contractor can make the video. You'll have your little bid or your scope of work, however you want to do it. And you'll go shop that deal. And it's not hard to do. But beware of unscrupulous investors. Like I said, some are not as cool as me, and some of them will steal your deal if you do not, if they even smell that you have no idea what you're doing, okay? And they'll just take your deal. So remember, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to go into the negativity because most people are nice people. But real estate investors are cash buyers, so remember that. You can also call bandit signs. So, this is answering the question of, how do I find, I got the contract, blah, blah, blah. How do I find the investor that wants to fix and flip it? So one of the easier ways is to call on We Buy Houses sign. It's called like reverse bandit signs. You call them because you know that those people that put those signs out are investors. Okay, so you can put them out to find houses for people with property problems. And then you can also call on them to get your list of people that buy those properties. But you don't even have to do that. That's just one of the ways. There's a lot easier way to find investors that buy properties. So there's a ton of them in that want wholesale deals, especially good deals. Good deals, you will not have, you have a good deal, you won't have a hard time finding someone to buy it. That's just how that works because who would turn down $63,000? You're not going to have a hard time finding somebody that wants money. So finding the buyers, here's just some ways that you can find the buyers for your wholesale deal. Remember, Craigslist, that's a great one. Real estate investor associations, great one. Meetup, great one. Ghost listing, that is where you put a listing in Craigslist saying, owner financing, or there's a ton of them. So basically what you're doing is you may even put a house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, blah, blah, blah. You don't actually necessarily have that, or you may have had it and, it was a house that you had and you don't have it anymore. And it's a ghost listing and people call on it. And that's a great way to start building yours. But you don't want to be unscrupulous either and start wasting people's time. So please do not do that if you are not actively investing, okay? Credit repair people, great place to find end buyers, okay? Those are people that would be looking for owner financing and things like that. Websites, obviously you can Google it and find people's websites of real estate investors that are looking to buy properties. You can do bandit signs, like I said, call on people's bandit signs. Bankruptcy and divorce attorneys are awesome, okay? They're awesome places to find buyers. So be a problem seeker, okay? So you're going to find problems. The issue, though, just being really honest, is you're not going to get to decide what property problems people have. So for every problem, there is a solution. And some problems will require multiple solutions. You may have to bring other people into it to help you or something like that. But the bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. So usually the more things that a person has going on, the more room, the more profit for you. Okay, because problems are good. I know that sounds crazy, but you're really going to start being a person that is looking for problems, looking for people that are in distress, looking for people that can't keep their house, something happened, death, divorce, bankruptcy. Problems. Some of the most traumatic problems are what you're looking for. And so I know you're side-eyeing me, but that's the answer, okay? So flipping houses, again, I told you in the beginning, you are thinking like a fix and flipper. And the key to that is, the key to that is thinking like a person that's flipping houses. You want to think like someone that's going to be flipping the house, that's going to be fixing it up. So you want to be really good with coming out to figuring out how you're going to how the repairs, that's going to be important for a wholesaler. You have to be accurate with your repairs. You cannot just tell them a basic number that you kind of made up. You really have to get a contractor or someone that can go in, or if it's you and you're good at that, but usually I just send a contractor to get me how much the repairs are for that house, okay? You need to be savvy. That's just, it is what it is. So we've covered a lot today. We've really covered a lot today. So I decided to offer something pretty cool just for this group. So, you'll have an opportunity to have a private one-on-one call with me if you want. There's no cost. This is a one-on-one session with me, just me and you, talking to see kind of what it is that you want to do. What you'll get, even if we never speak after the session, you're going to know why you've been struggling and how to bring more profits into your life right now. That's what I'm going to help you with, okay? Because it is important to kind of identify what it is, and so we can fix that, or if this is an idea that you had, if that's a good idea for you and how you would pursue it. Because I want you to kind of just imagine the freedom that this would bring if you're like, okay, I know exactly what to do. And you have an open checkbook to write your own profits and to have your own business where you're making money consistently on every deal. And you always know which deals to make and which deals to pass on. That's really important, knowing which deals to make and which ones to pass on. So there is a catch though. There's no cost involved. Like I said, this is a $500 value, but there is one catch. You do need to qualify, okay? So I'm going to talk to you about how you qualify to secure one of the 7 spots, okay? So the first people who qualify will be contacted by email. You'll be given the opportunity to schedule a session. Sessions are scheduled on a first come, first served basis. So I want you to go ahead and schedule right away. If we don't hear from you, my assistant, she's going to just go ahead and say your session is forfeited and you will not have the opportunity to rebook, okay? Because this is one of several speaking engagements and trainings that I have. So I had to limit the number of openings that I could offer. So I like to make sure I have the time to focus on each individual, so I have openings for 7 qualified people. And so either way, you're going to get 2 free gifts. And the Women in Wealth Network is a faith-based organization. So I want to make sure that I'm always giving back. But I also want you to take action so you can succeed. I want you to start moving towards some of this stuff because there's so much that you can do, but you need to know what to do. And you got to kind of get your plan and start to get on track with that. So quickly, here is the website for you if you want to go ahead and register and log on to the Wealthy Woman Blueprint. Just go to that website right now and go ahead, and there'll be a short application. And if you qualify, we can get on the phone and we can talk and we can really get you going forward with your specific thing. Because I was really clear, and I hope you really understand that there are plenty of things that you can do, but that is not where the win is. The win is in getting very specific and very targeted in what you're going to do. There's lots of different, you can jump on 50 million different trainings and get all confused as to which thing that you're going to do, or you can start working on a plan and a system that works for you and that is strategic for what you're trying to do and not just all over the place, trying different things. This is not about trying. This is about putting on that crown, becoming a queen, and moving forward, okay, with your greatness. So I went a little bit over, but I just really thank you guys so much for joining on the call. And I want to thank everyone. I see a lot of questions. I'll go ahead and let you guys go, but this has been an awesome call. And I thank you guys.